everyone, it's the weekend. Welcome to Massey United Insurance's Line and Length. It's the cricket program where we look at the sport not only in the region but internationally as well. I'm Barry Wilkinson. Hello to all of our friends watching on Digicel, Sportsmax and wherever else you're seeing this broadcast. It's been a very quiet week in West Indies cricket. Not a lot to discuss in terms of things happening there. Last week we also told you about Jason Holder's captaincy and discussed that. This week we're going on the route where we're looking at some up-and-coming youngsters who had a fantastic tour of the United Kingdom thanks to the Franklyn Stephenson Academy. We're going to delve into that academy, delve into that tour, and tell you about the youngsters and how successful they were in playing in England. We're also going to talk about West Indies cricket, look at the latest things happening as well as what's going on worldwide in cricket, and remembering Brian Close. We have a man who played with Brian Close in the studio with us, and we're going to remember him, the former England player who died earlier in the week. Lots to talk about. Stay tuned. You're watching Massey United Insurance's Line and Length.
Across the Caribbean, more people are placing their trust in Massey United Insurance for the protection of the things that are important to them, their homes, businesses, and their prized possessions. That's because Massey United Insurance offers excellent general insurance coverage to help you manage whatever life sends your way. Our cadre of well-reputed agencies and trained insurance professionals are always ready to provide you with sound advice and prompt service. Choose the security and sound strength that is Massey United Insurance.
So welcome back on the program. It has been something of a rarity these days to see youngsters travel to England on cricket tours. I remember back in the 80s, even the 90s, there were so many cricket tours from Barbados, from Trinidad, even from Jamaica to England with under 15s, under 19 special teams traveling there to get familiar with the conditions of English cricket, which is indeed the home of the sport. Not so in Barbados. Franklyn Stephenson has a tremendous academy in Barbados on the west, and this year he embarked on a tour to the UK with some of the most promising under 15 youngsters we have in Barbados, and even from the region. There was even a youngster, I think they're from Nevis. We're going to talk to him. Franklyn Stephenson is here with us. We want to look at not only the success of such a tour, but how it has been able to help the development of West Indies cricket in the years gone by, and if this is something, Franklyn, that you're looking to re-establish. Franklyn Stephenson, good to have you. You know, we see you these days in the sport of golf, but your academy is doing so well, and you had these youngsters go. Tell me first of all about this tour.
Thank you, Barry. Well, it was conceptualized quite a while back. We've been going now 4.5, pretty much 5 years. We've been in operation at the academy, and as soon as we got started, really, after the first year or so, I had two benefactors individually that actually said to me, "This is fantastic. When your team is ready to travel, let us know, let me know." And so I thought that was, you know, the perfect opportunity to get a team ready to actually tour. One guy said to me that he wanted the team to go to his old school as well as being a benefactor. And so we started to put it together. We almost did in 2014, but then it was a little bit short notice. And the thing is, I need to get fixtures up first. And so it took me a little longer, so we postponed it until 2015. Funnily enough is that when we actually were ready to travel, ready to say everything, all systems go, both my benefactors, as you say, went south on me. And there was a challenge, but the parents especially were absolute champion in the offset. You know, they got together and said, no, we can do this, and we started to do some fundraising events and, you know, regular fish fries on Friday evenings after practice and so on. And then we put a booklet together and we asked for some corporate help, and we have eventually put out a fantastic brochure as well. But the tour eventually was testament to the resilience of the parents and the management of the facility, and we had a fantastic time.
Well, Franklyn, you mentioned a fantastic time, and it's great to hear about it. Two sets of teams, two distinct teams, under 11 and under 15. Specific reason for that those age categories?
Well, at the time that we were putting it together, there's a festival in Taunton, the Taunton Schools, English Schools Cricket Festival that's held at Taunton every year. and it's over a 6-week period. But the time that we were able to go, the category, we wanted to take the 11-year-olds because they were the pretty much formed team at that time, primarily the kids from West Terrace who did so well in the primary schools event. And we've had other kids since join the academy, the likes of Jacob Bethel from Wanderers, Bethel family, a very famous cricketing name, and young Jordan Reefer, he came from Wanderers as well, but they came through parents, and they are, again, a very big cricketing name. And we also had Caroline Tuckett from another cricketing family, obviously Carol Tuckett's son from Nevis. And they're all part of the academy training program, and they supplemented our team very well. So we wanted to take the under-11s, but having said that, we didn't want to, in our first tour, to actually leave anybody behind. And so the under-11s were going to play in the week of 11-year-olds in Taunton. And so we found fixtures for the under-15s as well. It was going to be under-16 because there was one lad that was 16 years old. We wanted to take him too. But primarily it was actually 14-year-olds that we took. Okay. And because we set up for under-16s, we actually played some under-16, 16 and 17-year-old lads in England, but our kids were up for it. We did have some 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds that actually made up the under-15, as we say, team. But it was exciting. We didn't want to leave anybody behind, and so we really expanded ourselves to incorporate everything. And so we had everyone, and we had effectively 31 kids, and I think it was 38 adults that actually made the trip as well. So, you know, it was a bit of an undertaking, but I think generally the kids for sure had an absolute ball, and they made friends so easily. They were, I think they want to revamp some coaching manuals from the way our kids played cricket in England. Let's put it that way.
That's fantastic, Franklyn. Preparation-wise, I saw you had none other than Brian Lara talk to the youngsters before they left. He obviously gave them a good send-off in terms of giving them some advice.
I was amazed actually. It was a very, very good session that he had with the kids. You know, they interacted with him very well, and he actually made it happen that way. I think he's been practicing his skills, and I think that they're honed in very well. But he actually came to the academy on the last day of our Easter camp, and he gave the kids some very important pointers to really focus on, and they asked him some very unique questions as well, and he was up to the task, you know, and he actually posted some questions to them to make sure that they were paying attention. And, you know, we've had the likes of Cigar Food Sobers and, you know, a few other people that have come and chatted with our kids down through the time at camps. But that one especially, I think that the kids will remember it for a very, very long time.
In terms of contracts now, I remember the Barbados under-15 team in 1991. They undertook a tour to the UK. And it exposed those youngsters in such a way that it benefited them in years to come for going to schools in England and getting contracts. Did you see any of that perhaps in the shape to take place?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, we had some parents who were very concerned, and they didn't want the kids to go too far without them, even that, you know, 11-year-olds and so on. We did have the older boys. It was a bit of an eye-opener because having left Taunton, we went then up to Cumbria, up to Royal Hospital School, and we really took in a lot of the sites. We did Stonehenge and you know, a lot of sightseeing and historic places and so on. We took in on the tour. And while at the Royal Hospital School, it's a massive place built on 200 acres of land, and you know, even got a mini golf course, a 9-hole golf course in there as well. The juniors were actually put in dorms with single rooms, the 11-year-olds. So this being the second week, so I actually went over to my friend Don Topley, and I said, maybe we should put the under-15s in the singles and the under-11s in the twin rooms. I got some shouts from the under-11s that said, no, 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 sir, no, we're happy, we're fine. And they wanted the single rooms. So these kids, you know, I think that they really showed, you know, really good outgoingness. And I mean, the cricket that they played after the first week or so, during the first week and after, it was amazing, you know.
Final question on this. Any more plans for on the 19 tour to keep these group of youngsters together as they grow?
I think it's very important. We are a continuing entity, and the next step is always in the pipeline. I would love to, I think it was very good to be able to take kids just entering secondary schools into a tour like that. I think they've come back with a wealth of understanding, and you know, I think that they will not only embrace the secondary school system, but also they will take something that, you know, can be added as a part of our schooling, what they've done in the last couple of weeks in England. But I would love to take that same team back as under 12s, in that the festival has, you know, different age groups. And in England, I mean, to think that we played in Middlesex and Wales and those places, Yorkshire, they must have at least 200, 250 primary schools to choose from. And we had, at the academy, we had 13 12-year-old, 11-year-olds, sorry, to choose from. But I would love to take them back as under 12s for the next year. But also for the under 15s, I think that a tour a little further afield would benefit them greatly. And
like Australia or New Zealand?
Well, we've got some very good contacts in South Africa. Oh. And we are looking to get.
But that's your tongue. That's your tongue. Yeah.
Well, it's funny if you look at Australia and Tasmania, you might say that's my tongue too, and they've got to offer
international,
to put
Frankie.
some fixtures down there as well, you know. So that's where we start. So I would love to, you know, the under 15s I feel are a little bit behind, if you don't mind my saying, the under 11s, because they've been with us longer, and they have, you know, trained more as a unit, and they've gotten more done. The under 15s, they've a lot of cricket's in there that we need to hone in and get out. So I think that a little further field will really help them as well. So, and I'm sold for it. I'm sold on it that this is the way to go. And I would love to, I'm working towards now getting our team ready, one team ready for England again next year. And I would very much like to, November next year, to take the under 15s as under 16s to South Africa.
All right, Franklyn Stephenson, can't stop you. And that's really encouraging stuff for the young cricketers of your academy. We're going to stick with Franklyn. When we come back, we're going to look at what's happening regionally. And a bit later on, remembering Brian Close. Franklyn Stephenson played with Brian Close, and he unfortunately passed away this week. We're going to look at the life and times of the England cricketer who Michael Holding would know very well. We'll be back on Mass United Insurance's Line and Line.
Across the Caribbean, more people are placing their trust in Massey United Insurance for the protection of the things that are important to them, their homes, businesses, and their prized possessions. That's because Massey United Insurance offers excellent general insurance coverage to help you manage whatever life sends your way. Our cadre of well-reputed agencies and trained insurance professionals are always ready to provide you with sound advice and prompt service. Choose the security and sound strength that is Massey United Insurance.
So we're back on the program. Franklyn Stephenson is going to stay with us. You know, it's been a weekend more now that Jason Holder was appointed as captain of the West Indies Test team. Of course, that appointment for the One Internationals would have come at the end of last year when he went to South Africa, and subsequently the Cricket World Cup. So that was not news to say, but it was news when he was appointed as the Test captain. Had a good press conference, his first press conference when he faced the media last week. Said some interesting things. We're going to just zone in and get some clips of what Jason Holder had to say. Some interesting things there from Jason Holder. Always speaks very well and is a cricketer that I really admire, Jason Holder. Frankie, he's built like you in terms of his height, in terms of what he does, fast bowling all-rounder, or many might think now because of how well he's batting, a batting all-rounder. What was your thought when you heard, first of all, that Jason Holder was captaining the test team taken over from Dinesh Ramdin?
I'm very excited for the young man. I think that it's a very good choice that the West Indies have made. You know, it's been a tough thing, you know, finding a leader for the team, and you know, there's been a lot of talk about pressure. You know, I don't understand where this talk comes from. You got a young man that not only bats but bowls. He doesn't have time to feel any pressure out there. I know exactly where he's coming from, in the sense that he won't have any time to go and lie down in the back of the dressing room when the team is batting, because he's got to be monitoring the situation and get his pads on, sooner or later. And bowling, he's always got something to do in the field as well. So there's no time for pressure. And the young man, I really respect young Holder. You know, I think Jason he's a disciplined young man. He's a lovely chap to talk to, and this is something rare, you know, for West Indies over the last few years, that you have a young, talented young man that is, you know, so easy to chat with, and he listens and he offers his opinions and so on. And I think that he's got a good opportunity, you know, with the young team that he has, that these guys will want to play with him. You know, there's been a lot of talk about who doesn't want to play with who in West Indies cricket, and that's always been pulling the team back as well. So I think that I think it's exciting times for West Indies cricket. I think he's got a good bunch of youngsters, and I think that he himself is developing, and this can help him in his development.
We're heading to Sri Lanka first. Probably opportune that we play Sri Lanka first and then go on to Australia. Getting his feet wet, perhaps with a weaker Sri Lankan team minus Jayawardene and Sangakkara, and then going on to meet the Australians. Your thoughts on Holder as a batsman, as a bowler? There's been some discussion that he's not a good enough batsman or not a good enough bowler, but I think the stats suggest otherwise. Your thoughts?
I like his batting, I like his bowling. He swings the ball a lot, and he's also working on doing different things with the ball. And I think that he's a young man that's learning very quickly. No, the subcontinent is not going to be the best place to be expounding on the art of fast bowling, but he does swing the ball. And all of this, I think that he's such a good student that everything is, you know, going to be a good learning curve for him. I think that preparation is going to be the key. And it's down to management to prepare these young men for what they're going to experience, that they actually hit the ground running, because it's always going to be harder to come back from a defeat, to say that you're new to the situation and that sort of stuff. So it's who they put around the team and how they prepare this team for the road ahead. And I know that that's not going to be the easiest thing, because we do have a lot of baggage around. And, you know, if they've got to be honest and really get the right people in the right place with these young people. We've been asking for it for a long time. It's all been going back to the drawing board, and but I think that they have a good crop of young men right now that they've really got to, put faith in. I think preparation is key. I just saw a young team go to England on the 15 team, and I don't think that the first time that they actually saw each other for a long time is when they actually...
You're talking about the West Indies on the 15 team, yeah.
One young lad leave our tour and go and join them, and preparation is key. If you're going to be leaving you don't have the time then to go and play like...
But you mentioned preparation, and Jason did say in his press conference that how we prepare is how we will eventually play. Mm-hmm. So I think that's key.
Okay, I haven't actually been privy to hearing his press conference, but I'm always excited to pretty much see the young man play, but also he's such a nice guy to talk to, and he listens as well, so it's up to the authorities to try and get the right, systems in place, and I hope they've had a good camp, and a meaningful one as well, to prepare them for what they got coming up,
Franklyn, is it important for the West Indies to win? Because it's a new team, it's a rebuilding team. We saw they were beaten pretty badly against Australia. No one really expected them to win per se. How important is it for them to win If Jason Holder does not do well in terms of leading his team to victories against Sri Lanka and Australia, will the selectors want to be picking a captain again next year? Is he in it for the long haul? What are your thoughts, selectorial-wise, where they are concerned?
But I think it's all in the pipeline. Winning is actually at the end of a long road of hard work, preparation, you know, and really believing in yourself when you get out there. You know, that little boy, too often we've had teams go away and they come back and say, oh, I learned a lot from Steve Watt. I learned, no, we're not going there to learn. We're going to it's hard
to compete, I would hope.
To compete, definitely.
Yes. Yeah.
But you hope at the end of that competing that you're actually successful enough to have actually won. And I believe that we can win. But, you know, it's going to be, I don't want to keep saying the same word all the time, but we have enough here in the Caribbean that we can actually work these guys hard enough and prepare them well enough to actually go out there and believe in themselves to know that they actually can win.
Franklyn, do you want to get more intricately involved with West Indies cricket?
I don't know the answer to that, Barry. I've never been involved in a sense, you know, because, you know, I've offered so much, so often I've come home and, you know, I could have said, I can build something. Oh, you can build what, you know? Or go and build one. I said Barbados should have 25 academies of cricket around Barbados that will be new tourist attractions, and they can circumvent Barbados into a cricketing unit where you can come from any part of the world and have cricket here on the ground at any stage or standard any time of the year. They tell me go and build one. I built one for the last 5 years. Who's taking any note? So I can't know the answer to that.
They did utilize your facility to do some training.
Yes, the West Indies team did, yes.
Yeah.
But I would always be involved in cricket, I think, as long as I live, in a sense, because even with the kids that I have now that have been practicing, I want to see them playing for a long time, and I will travel and watch them play, you know, because I know that I'm going to see something that can actually entertain me, not any poor behavior on the field, that sort of thing. So there's always going to be an involvement for you somewhere in cricket, but who utilizes that, whether it's at the top or the bottom of the echelons, you know, who knows? But you know, the offer's always been there.
All right, Franklyn Stephenson. We got one more segment to cover, and that is just a quick look back at the life and times of Brian Close. He passed away earlier this week, and he was a fierce competitor, many of whom West Indian supporters will remember for that very infamous, if you want to call it, or famous, depending on if you're Englishman or West Indian, over that was bowled to him by Michael Houghton. When we come back on Master United Insurance's Line.
Across the Caribbean, more people are placing their trust in Massey United Insurance for the protection of the things that are important to them, their homes, businesses, and their prized possessions. That's because Massey United Insurance offers excellent general insurance coverage to help you manage whatever life sends your way. Our cadre of well-reputed agencies and trained insurance professionals are always ready to provide you with sound advice and prompt service. Choose the security and sound strength that is Massey United Insurance.
So we're back for the last lap. This edition of Master United Insurance's Line and Length. Earlier this week, like I said, Brian Close, a former England cricketer, passed away. Franklyn Stephenson, he was your captain when you played county cricket, I believe.
No, actually, at the end of every season, there used to be a game for the Scarborough Festival. Brian Close's 11 versus the touring test team. And if they had two test teams, it was the one that came at the back end of the season. And so I played about 5 or 6 years on the Brian Close. He would invite me every year. And I've actually got some good first-class performances at Scarborough. But also we had Tim Hudson and his Bertels Bowes 11. I almost brought a photograph down with us dressed in our plaid jackets, and Viv Richards is a part of that as well, I'm sure. But I think Ian Botham actually captained that team, but Brian Close was a part of it with Tim Hudson. I don't know if you recall the period where Tim Hudson was Ian Botham's manager, and he didn't make the statement, but everybody smokes.
Oh, yes.
You know,
that was the end of that. Yeah.
That was the end of that. But he was a man that built his own cricket ground and had his own team. But Brian Close, what a man, what a player. To mention Brian Close, it's 3 names stand out in that sort of standing, the Brian Close era. And the names are like It's Brian Close, of course, that stood up to Michael Holding and the West Indian fast bowlers. I think it was pre-helmet days, wasn't it?
Yes, and he was also 44, Franklyn.
And no chest guard, but he took it in his chest. He put his chest and his body on the line for his country, and he refused to. Well, he did his best not to show any effects of it until we did see his knees buckled on the one blow. One ball that hit him in the chest. But Brian Close was one, Clive Rice was one, and Kepler Vessels. And they're three men from three different countries, but they were almost geared up never to show any sort of remorse or any sort of pain in the face of the enemy, and that's how they treated cricket. So you hit them as hard as you like or you could, and they would stand there and glare back at you, you know, and then go into the dressing room and see what the damage was.
How good was he though, Franklyn? His resilience is what we talk about mostly, but how good really was Brian Close?
Brian Close, a Yorkshireman, predating Geoffrey Boycott and the lot, you know, but he always believed he was that he could actually get it done. And the mindset is that he could actually take the team there as well. He was always, even through batting in Scarborough, you know, like we had some problems batting against, I think it was the New Zealand spinners one year, and he was adamant that you don't play a bat and pad. The bat's got to be in front of the pad, you know. And he was so, and he's talking to test players, you know, established test players, and then he would go out there and actually do it himself to show what he was on about, you know. And he was always that, you know, hands-on character. I mean, to think that he was so talented. To think about golf, Brian Close played golf, handicap 2, left-handed, as he was a left-handed batter. And he actually played right-handed to a handicap of 5 or something like that. So he was a complete sportsman in a sense, and his heart was always in whatever he did, and he didn't actually do it for himself. He was always encompassing people around him to actually improve in their sports as well.
All right, Frankie, thank you so much. May Brian Close rest in peace as we close off this edition of Mass United Insurance's Line 11. I want to thank you, Franklyn Stephenson, for coming. Andrew Seeley, of course. Continue to send us your emails, cricket@line11.net, or if you want to go on Twitter, our handle is @LineLength. I'm Barry Wilkinson. Bye-bye for now.